Welcome back to my channel. Today we explore the value of specific coins, the top for most valuable U.S. Lincoln Wheat Penny coins value in today's market. So let's get started. The Lincoln Wheat Penny is one of the most iconic and widely collected coins in American history. Introduced in 1909 to honor the centennial of Abraham Lincoln's birth, this penny marked the first time a U.S. president was featured on circulating coinage. Designed by Victor David Brenner, the coin features a profile of Lincoln on the obverse and two stalks of wheat flanking the words 1 cent on the reverse. The wheat reverse was used until 1958, when it was replaced by the Lincoln Memorial design. Among the many years of production for the Lincoln Wheat Penny, the 1945 issue is especially notable due to its high mintage and its connection to the final months of World War II. In this video, we'll focus on the 1945 Lincoln Wheat Penny without a mint mark, meaning it was struck at the Philadelphia Mint. We'll explore its history, examine its characteristics, and take a close look at its current value in the numismatic market specifically. In good circulated condition, the year 1945 was a significant time in American and global history. The Second World War was drawing to a close, and the United States was transitioning from a wartime to a peacetime economy. In terms of coin production, materials were still being conserved due to wartime needs. However, by 1945, the U.S. Mint had returned to using its standard bronze composition for the Lincoln cent. This alloy consisted of 95% copper and 5% tin and zinc. This was a change from the previous 2 years, 1943 and 1944, when zinc-coated steel and recycled shell casings, respectively, had been used for penny production due to copper shortages. In 1945, the Philadelphia Mint produced over 1 billion Lincoln Wheat Pennies. To be exact, the total mintage for the 1945 penny, without a mint mark, was approximately 1,040,515,000 coins. This massive production run means that the coin is not considered rare by mintage numbers alone. However, collectors still seek out examples in high grades or with unique features such as errors or varieties. When evaluating the value of a 1945 Lincoln Wheat Penny, condition is one of the most important factors. For this discussion, we are focusing on coins in good condition. In numismatic grading terms, good condition typically refers to coins that have seen significant circulation, but still retain identifiable design details. On a scale of 1 to 70, these coins would fall near the lower end, usually between grades G4 and VG8. At this level, the date and major design features are visible, though the finer details are worn smooth. Because of the coin's high mintage, and the fact that many have survived, a 1945 Lincoln penny in good condition is quite common. In today's market, the value of such a coin typically ranges from 1 cent to 10 cents. In most cases, a circulated example in average good condition will sell for about 3 to 5 cents. Dealers may buy these coins in bulk or offer them in grab bags for beginner collectors. While the value may seem modest, there are still reasons to hold on to or collect them, especially for educational or starter sets. There are also a few special considerations that can affect the value of a 1945 Lincoln Wheat Penny even in good condition. One of those factors is the presence of errors or varieties. Mint errors such as double dies, off-center strikes, and clipped planchets can greatly increase a coin's value, even if the coin is otherwise heavily circulated. For instance, a 1945 penny with a dramatic double die obverse could be worth several dollars or more, depending on the visibility and severity of the error. However, such varieties are relatively rare, and each coin must be evaluated individually. Another aspect to consider is the coin's eye appeal and overall preservation. Even within the category of good condition, some coins may have fewer nicks, scratches, or discoloration than others. A well-preserved, good condition coin with an even brown tone and no corrosion or verdigris might be more attractive to a collector than a coin with heavy spotting or damage. Although this difference may not translate into a substantial price difference, it can still influence a buyer's decision. So, why are people still interested in 1945 Lincoln Wheat Pennies if their market value is low? For many collectors, it's not just about the financial return. The 1945 penny offers historical significance, especially as a wartime artifact. It connects collectors to a pivotal moment in American and world history. It's also a tangible piece of Americana that has passed through countless hands over the past 80 years. Moreover, collecting Lincoln cents is a popular entry point into the world of new. A 1945 penny may be the first coin a young collector finds in their pocket change or a family member's old coin jar. For those interested in collecting or investing, it's important to understand that coin values are dynamic and influenced by several market factors. These include supply and demand, metal prices, collector trends, and auction results. Websites such as PCGS, Price Guide, NGC, Coin Price Guide, and recent eBay sales can provide updated information on current market values. Still, for coins in good circulated condition, large shifts in value are unlikely unless a major error or unique characteristic is discovered. If you happen to come across a 1945 Lincoln penny without a mint mark and you're curious about its worth, the first step is to assess its condition. If the coin shows significant wear but the date and major features are still visible, it falls into the good condition range. Such a coin is worth a few cents to a collector or dealer. It may not make you rich, but it is still a meaningful piece of history. If you're lucky enough to find one in better condition, such as fine, very fine, or uncirculated, then the value could rise accordingly. In fine to very fine condition, a 1945 Lincoln penny might fetch 10 to 20 cents. In uncirculated or mint state condition, values can range from $1 to several dollars, depending on the grade. Coins graded MS65 or higher with strong luster and minimal marks can command premium prices, especially from grading certified services. In summary, the 1945 Lincoln wheat penny without a mint mark in good condition is a common but historically significant coin. Its value today typically ranges from 1 to 10 cents, with most examples selling around 3 to 5 cents. While not a rare treasure, it remains an important piece of American numismatic heritage and is a great addition to any coin collection. Whether you collect for fun, for history, or for investment, the Lincoln wheat cent remains a timeless and rewarding pursuit. ****. Next up, the Lincoln wheat penny is one of the most widely recognized coins ever produced by the United States Mint. Issued from 1909 to 1958, these 1-cent pieces have become a favorite among collectors and history enthusiasts alike. One of the more commonly encountered years in this series is 1957. In this video, we'll be focusing specifically on the 1957 Lincoln wheat penny that has no mint mark and is in extra fine condition. We'll explore its background, characteristics, collector interest, and most importantly, what it's worth in today's market. The 1957 Lincoln wheat penny without a mint mark was struck at the Philadelphia Mint. That year, over 282 million pennies were minted in Philadelphia alone. This high mintage means that the coin is relatively common, especially compared to earlier dates or rare mint-era coins. Despite its abundance, there is still collector interest, particularly when the coin is in better conditions, such as extra fine, uncirculated, or mint state. To better understand the value of a 1957 penny in extra fine condition, let's begin by defining what extra fine means in coin grading terms. Extra fine, often abbreviated as XF or F, is a grade that falls on the upper end of circulated coins. It's above very fine and below about uncirculated. An extra fine penny will still show sharp details in Lincoln's hair and the wheat stalks on the reverse. Some of the original mint luster may even be visible, but there will be light wear on the high points of the design. For a coin that has circulated for decades, an extra fine grade indicates that it was well preserved now. The absence of a mint mark on the 1957 penny means that it was minted in Philadelphia. That detail can be important for collectors because different mints often produced coins in varying quantities and with varying levels of die quality. However, in the case of 1957, both the Philadelphia and Denver mints produced a large number of wheat pennies, with the Denver mint using the D mint mark. Because the 1957 Lincoln penny is not a rare coin by itself, condition becomes the most important factor in determining value. For coins in extra fine condition, there is some collector demand, though prices remain modest due to the large number of coins still in circulation or stored away in collections. As of today's market, the average value of a 1957 Lincoln wheat penny without a mint mark in extra fine condition ranges between 10 and 20 cents. That's right, while the coin is over 65 years old and has historical significance. Its sheer abundance keeps the market value low for anything less than mint state. That said, some collectors are willing to pay a little more for especially attractive specimens, coins with unusual toning, or those that have strong strike characteristics and minimal wear. In cases like these, an extra fine 1957 penny might sell for up to 50 cents or more in retail environments, such as local coin shops or online marketplaces like eBay. But typically, 10 to 20 cents is a realistic range for individual coins, without any rare errors or unusual features. Now let's take a moment to consider what makes a 1957 Lincoln wheat penny more valuable than usual. While a regular extra fine example may only be worth a few cents over face value, there are exceptions in the form of error coins. Examples of such errors include doubled dies, off-center strikes, die cracks, or repunched mint marks. However, since the Philadelphia version of the 1957 penny lacks a mint mark, repunched marks do not apply here. If a 1957 Lincoln wheat penny without a mint mark happens to show a doubled die, particularly on the date, the lettering, or Lincoln's P, could be worth significantly more. In such cases, values can climb to several dollars or more, depending on the severity of the error and its visibility. These coins are usually identified by specialists or sent to grading services like PCGS or NGC for authentication and certification. Another scenario where a 1957 penny can command a higher price is when it has been professionally graded in high mint state conditions. A coin that earns a grade of MS65 or higher, meaning it is in mint condition with full original luster and no wear, can be worth several dollars or even more, depending on the buyer and market trends. But again, this is outside the extra fine condition we're focusing on in this video. So why do collectors bother with coins like the 1957 wheat penny if they aren't particularly valuable? The answer lies in the historical and educational appeal. The wheat penny series marks the first time Abraham Lincoln appeared on a circulating U.S. coin, and it replaced the Indian head cent that had been in use since 1859. The design, created by Victor David Brenner, was introduced in 1909 to mark the centennial of Lincoln's birth. Collectors often seek to build complete sets of Lincoln wheat pennies, including every year and mint mark from 1909 to 1958. The 1957 penny plays a role in completing those sets, and while it may not be a rare key date, it's essential for achieving a full run. Additionally, the wheat reverse design was discontinued after 1958, replaced in 1959 by the Lincoln Memorial reverse, making the final years of the wheat penny series especially nostalgic for many collectors. In terms of selling a 1957 penny in extra fine condition, it's important to know where and how to sell it. Individual coins in this condition may not attract high bids, but if you have a roll of similar quality coins, you may find interest from dealers or bulk buyers. Selling in person, at coin shows, local shops, or through online auctions are all viable options. Still, be prepared for modest offers unless you can prove the coin has something special such as an error, toning, or unusually sharp strike. To summarize, the 1957 Lincoln wheat penny without a mint mark in extra fine condition is not rare and does not command a high market value. On average, such a coin is worth between 10 and 20 cents in today's market. However, it remains an accessible and historically meaningful piece for collectors and is often used to teach beginners the basics of coin collecting, grading, and thus mint history. While it may not bring big money, its role in American numismatics is significant, and its classic design and long legacy continue to make it a staple of many coin collections. If you find one in your change, it's worth holding on to, if not for profit, then for its connection to an earlier time in American currency. Next up, the Lincoln wheat penny is one of the most iconic coins in American numismatic history. First minted in 1909 to commemorate the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth, it was the first U.S. coin to feature a real person's image. Among the many dates and mint marks in the series, the 1951 Lincoln wheat penny with the S mint mark is one that often piques the interest of collectors, especially when found in circulated or dirty condition. Today, we'll take a closer look at this specific coin, its features, and how much it's really worth in today's market. Let's begin with the basics. The 1951 S Lincoln wheat penny was struck at the San Francisco Mint. In total, just over 136 million of these coins were produced. While that might sound like a high number, many of these coins were put into circulation and stayed there for years. As a result, finding a 1950 ONS penny in pristine condition is much less common today. However, what about those coins that were not kept safe in collections? The ones that have seen years of use in commerce, left forgotten in drawers, piggy banks, or even buried in the dirt. These are what we often call dirty or circulated coins. They show signs of wear, discoloration, scratches, and sometimes corrosion. Despite their condition, they can still have value, though. That value depends heavily on a few key factors. The first factor is demand. The 1950 UNS penny is not a rare date by itself, but it does hold interest for those trying to complete a Lincoln wheat cent collection. Most collectors look for at least one example from each year and mint mark. As such, there is always a steady demand for coins like the 1951S. The second factor is condition. Professional coin grading agencies use a scale from 1 to 72 grade coins, with 70 being a perfect, uncirculated example. Dirty or circulated coins typically fall within the lower end of this scale, between grades 1 and 20. These lower grade coins are considered good to fine condition, with visible wear and limited detail. Even if the coin is dirty, it can still retain some of its design, which can help identify it and assess its grade. A coin in extremely dirty condition may not be graded professionally unless it's part of a larger batch or collection, but that doesn't mean it has no value. On the contrary, many everyday people discover these coins and want to know whether they should hold on to them or sell them in circulated condition, which includes most dirty coins found in change or storage. The 1950 OS penny usually ranges in value from 3 cents to about 25 cents. The lower end reflects heavy wear or severe discoloration. The higher end of that range applies to coins with less damage. where most of the details are still visible, even if the coin is not visually appealing. In the current market, collectors or bulk buyers often purchase wheat pennies by the pound or in rolls. A typical roll of 50 circulated wheat cents, including various dates and mint marks, might sell for $2 to $4. That breaks down to roughly 4 to 8 cents per coin. Therefore, if you're looking to sell a single dirty 1951 penny, you can reasonably expect to receive about 5 cents, unless there is something unusual or rare about the coin. That brings us to another consideration: errors. Sometimes, even a dirty or worn coin can be valuable if it contains a mint error. These can include things like doubled dies, off-center strikes, die cracks, or repunched mint marks. While these errors are not common for the 1951 penny, they do exist. A 1951 with a visible and verified error can be worth several dollars or more, depending on the severity and visibility of the flaw. If you suspect your coin might have an error, it's worth having it looked at by a knowledgeable collector or local coin dealer. Even in dirty condition, a rare mint error can make your coin significantly more valuable. Now, let's talk about cleaning. Many people think that cleaning a dirty coin will increase its value. Unfortunately, this is almost always the opposite. Cleaning a coin, especially using abrasive materials, can scratch or damage its surface. Even if the coin looks shinier afterward, it loses value in the eyes of serious collectors. The natural patina and signs of age are part of the coin's history and appeal. So, if you find a dirty 1951 penny, it's best to leave it in its original condition, unless advised otherwise by a professional. Another common question is whether it's worth getting such a coin graded. The short answer is, probably not. Professional grading services like PCGS or NGC charge fees that far exceed the value of a low-grade 1951 penny. Unless your coin has an unusual error or is in remarkably high condition for its age, it's not economical to have it graded individually. That said, there are always exceptions. Some high-grade 1951 pennies have sold at auction for substantial amounts. In mint state condition, meaning the coin looks almost exactly as it did when it left the mint, these coins can fetch $5 to $20 or more. And if the coin is graded at the top end, such as MS67 with a red color designation, it can sell for several $100s. However, finding such a coin in the wild is extremely rare, especially if the coin is already dirty and circulated. In summary, a dirty 1951 Lincoln wheat penny has modest value. Most examples in circulated condition are worth between 3 and 10 cents, with better-looking coins possibly reaching 25 cents. If you have multiple wheat pennies, including the 1951 you might consider selling them as a group or roll. While not a fortune, these coins can still be fun to collect, trade, and learn from. The 1950 penny also represents a piece of American history, minted during the post-war years, circulated during a time of economic growth, and handled by people from many walks of life. Its worn surfaces and dirty patina may hide its age, but also reflect decades of real-world use. So, the next time you come across a dirty old penny with an mint mark and a 1951 date, don't dismiss it. It may not be rare or highly valuable, but it carries a story and still holds some worth in today's coin market. Next up, the 1947 Lincoln wheat penny without a mint mark is a coin that captures the attention of both beginner and experienced coin collectors. While it may seem like a common coin at first glance, its value can vary significantly depending on several key factors such as condition, coloration, and market demand. In this video, we'll explore the background of the 1947 Lincoln wheat penny, what makes it special, and what you can realistically expect it to be worth today, especially if yours is in black-toned circulated condition. To begin, let's start with a brief history of the Lincoln wheat penny series, first issued in 1909 to honor the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth. The wheat penny quickly became an iconic piece of American coinage. Designed by Victor David Brenner, it features a portrait of Abraham Lincoln on the obverse and 2 wheat stalks on the reverse, symbolizing prosperity and agriculture. The wheat penny was minted until 1958, after which it was replaced by the Lincoln Memorial reverse in 1959. The 1947 wheat penny was minted just 2 years after the end of World War II, during a period when the United States was recovering from wartime production restrictions. That year, the Philadelphia Mint produced over 190 million Lincoln wheat pennies. Since Philadelphia minted coins bear no mint mark, a 1947 penny without a mint mark originated from this facility. Because of the high mintage, the 1947 no-mint mark penny is generally considered a common date. Millions of these coins were released into circulation, and many still exist today. However, that doesn't mean all examples are created equal. Their value depends significantly on the coin's condition, color, and whether any errors or unique characteristics are present. When discussing condition, coin collectors use a grading scale that ranges from poor to mint state. A coin in poor condition will show heavy wear, with much of the design worn away. On the opposite end, a mint state coin will appear nearly flawless, with full detail and original luster intact. The value increases dramatically as the grade improves. Most coins found in everyday circulation are in lower grades such as good, very good, or fine. These circulated coins have lost much of their original shine and have various degrees of wear. While these lower grade coins typically have low market value, there are still factors that may affect the price, including color or toning. Now let's talk about black-toned Lincoln wheat pennies. A black appearance on a copper coin usually indicates either natural oxidation over time or environmental damage. Copper is a reactive metal, and exposure to moisture, air, and chemicals can result in a dark brown to black tone. In most cases, this is not desirable to collectors who prefer red or red-brown coins in higher grades. However, there are exceptions. If a black-toned Lincoln penny shows even wear and has no serious damage, it may still be collectible as a filler coin or for someone completing a set on a budget. But it's important to note that in the grading world, black coloration due to oxidation is often considered environmental damage. As such, these coins are usually classified as damaged or impaired, which limits their value. So what is a realistic value for a 1947 Lincoln wheat penny without a mint mark in black tones circulated condition? In today's market, such a coin will generally have a value between 1 cent and 5 cents. That's right because of its high mintage and the condition issues associated with black-tone coins. The base market value is quite low. Most coin dealers and collectors consider these coins to be of low numismatic interest unless they have rare features like die errors, off-center strikes, or doubled dies. There are a few special cases where the value could increase slightly. For example, if the coin has a strong strike with full wheat lines on the reverse and has an even, natural black tone without corrosion, it might sell for 10 to 25 cents to a niche collector. Some collectors are specifically interested in toning variations, including dark-toned coins, and may pay a bit more for well-preserved examples. On the other hand, coins with pitting, surface corrosion, or signs of being cleaned or artificially darkened are typically worth only face value. Cleaning a coin, especially with chemicals or abrasives, significantly reduces its value and is highly discouraged in the numismatic community. Natural patina is always preferred over artificially altered appearances. Online marketplaces like eBay often list 1947 no-mint mark wheat pennies for sale, and the final sale price can vary based on presentation, shipping costs, and buyer interest. A black-toned circulated example may sell for 10 to 20 cents when sold individually, often only when paired with free shipping or bundled with other coins. In bulk sales, such as rolls of circulated wheat pennies, the individual value can drop to as low as 2 cents per coin. If you're wondering whether it's worth selling or holding on to a black-toned 1947 Lincoln wheat penny, the answer depends on your goals. If you're assembling a low-cost wheat penny set or enjoy collecting for historical reasons, keeping it can be satisfying. But if you're hoping for significant profit, it may be better to focus on coins in better condition or with rarer attributes. Some collectors specialize in errors and varieties, and that's one area where even a darkened 1947 penny might become more valuable. If your coin exhibits a doubled die, repunched mint mark, though this applies more to Denver or San Francisco coins, or a die crack, it could attract attention from specialists. In such cases, professional evaluation and certification by a service, like PCGS or NGC, could increase its value. In summary, the 1947 Lincoln wheat penny, without a mint mark, is generally common and low in monetary value when found in black-toned circulated condition. Its value typically ranges from 1 to 5 cents, with slight increases possible for clean, evenly toned coins. While it may not be a financial treasure, it still holds historical value and can be an enjoyable part of a collection. For those passionate about American coinage, even common coins tell a story worth preserving. So, if you have one of these coins, consider it a small piece of history. You may not get rich from it, but it represents an era of American life and the enduring legacy of Abraham Lincoln. For beginners and casual collectors, it's an excellent starting point to learn more about grading, toning, and the coin market overall. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more coin collecting content. See you in next time. Happy collecting!
The anniversary of President Abraham Lincoln's birth and the 100th anniversary of the Lincoln cent, the United States Mint did something historic. For the first time in a century, the reverse design of the Lincoln penny was changed not just once, but 4 times in a single year. Each of these 4 designs reflected a different chapter in Lincoln's remarkable life. These coins were not just change in your pocket. They were small, everyday monuments to America's most beloved president. The obverse or front of each 2009 penny remained the same, with Victor David Brenner's iconic portrait of Lincoln that first appeared in 1909. But the back was entirely transformed, offering collectors and the public a rare opportunity to hold history in their hands. And what makes these 2009 Lincoln pennies even more special, that many of them were struck with no mint mark, especially those produced in Philadelphia. When you come across a 2009 Lincoln penny with no mint mark, it means it was made at the Philadelphia Mint, which, unlike Denver or San Francisco, traditionally does not include a mint mark on most of its coins. Now, while millions of these coins were produced for circulation, many people held onto them as keepsakes, and finding uncirculated examples today with brilliant luster and no signs of wear is becoming increasingly rare. These uncirculated 2009 Lincoln Bicentennial pennies are more than just coins. They are physical timelines of Lincoln's journey from a humble log cabin to the White House. Let's walk through each of the 4 reverse designs released in 2009. The first design is known as the Birth and Early Childhood in Kentucky penny. It features a simple log cabin representing the place where Abraham Lincoln was born in 1809. This design symbolizes his humble beginnings and the values of hard work and simplicity that shaped him from the start. The second reverse design, called Formative Years in Indiana, shows a young Lincoln sitting on a log, reading a book, with a mallet in one hand and a tool nearby. This image is powerful. It captures Lincoln's self-education and his early work as a rail splitter. He was a thinker and a laborer, and this penny design beautifully combines both. The third design is Professional Life in Illinois, where Lincoln is depicted standing in front of the state capitol in Springfield. This coin marks Lincoln's emergence as a lawyer, statesman, and representative. It tells the story of how a man from the frontier rose to political prominence by dedication, knowledge, and honest leadership. Finally, the fourth design, Presidency in Washington, D.C., shows the U.S. Capitol dome under construction, symbolizing the unfinished work Lincoln faced as he led a divided nation through the Civil War. It's a poignant and powerful image, reflecting Lincoln's most difficult and impactful chapter. Now, what about the value of these coins? While circulated 2009 Lincoln pennies typically fetch face value in most conditions, uncirculated examples, especially those with strong luster, no contact marks, and sharp detail, are becoming increasingly collectible. A full set of all 4 2009 designs in uncirculated condition, with no mint mark, can sell for $3 to $5 or more depending on quality. Individual coins in pristine uncirculated condition, especially those graded Ms. 65 or higher by professional grading services like PCGs or NGC, can command values of $5 to $15 per coin or even higher, especially if they show excellent strike and eye appeal. And here's something most people don't know. In addition to the standard copper-plated zinc coins, the U.S. Mint also released special versions of these 2009 pennies in 95% copper composition, similar to the original 1909 Lincoln cents. These copper versions were only available in special collector sets, not in general circulation. If you're lucky enough to come across a 2009 no mint mark copper penny in brilliant uncirculated condition, its value could easily jump to $10 to $25 or more if professionally graded. Another key factor collectors consider is strike quality. Many 2009 Lincoln cents, particularly from Philadelphia, suffered from weak strikes, soft details, and die deterioration. So when a sharp, well-struck, uncirculated coin shows up with no mint mark, full detail in Lincoln's face and the reverse design, and a flawless surface, that coin stands out. It's not just pocket change, it's a collector's piece. Next up, in 2009, the United States Mint issued a special one-year series of pennies to honor the 200th birthday of Abraham Lincoln. It was a celebration not only of the man, but of the American values he stood for: hard work, perseverance, and rising from humble beginnings. These coins became known as the 2009 Lincoln Bicentennial cents, and each of the 4 designs tells a chapter of Lincoln's life. Among them, the very first release in the series, the Birth and early childhood penny hold special historical and collector value, especially in uncirculated condition and bearing the D mint mark, representing the Denver Mint. The obverse or front of the coin still features the classic profile of President Lincoln, originally sculpted by Victor David Brenner in 1909. A portrait so iconic it has now remained on the penny for over a century. But what truly distinguishes this coin is its reverse, a simple log cabin set among trees, symbolizing Abraham Lincoln's birth and early years in Hardin County, Kentucky, now LaRue County, in the early 1800s. The scene is stark, rustic, and honest, just like the world Lincoln was born into on February 12, 1809. This design is more than a cabin. It is a tribute to modest beginnings, a reminder that one of America's greatest presidents started life in a one-room structure with no luxury, no privilege, and no guarantees. It represents Lincoln's core values of self-reliance, humility, and determination. The 2009 birth and early childhood Lincoln cent was struck at the Denver Mint, and it carries the D Mint mark just below the date on the obverse side. Unlike coins from the Philadelphia Mint, which traditionally lack a mint mark, coins from Denver are easily identified. In 2009, the Denver Mint struck over 350 million of these log cabin pennies for circulation. However, very few of them were saved in truly uncirculated, mint state condition. So, what makes an uncirculated 2009 birth and early childhood penny valuable? In circulated condition, meaning it's been used and change, showing signs of wear, this penny is worth face value. But when the coin is found in brilliant and circulated condition, with no scratches, no fingerprints, and full mint luster, its value increases significantly among collectors, even more so if it has been professionally graded by services like PCGs or NGC, and received a grade of Ms. 65 or higher. A raw and circulated example, without certification, but showing full red color and no wear, can sell for $0.5 to $2.0 depending on eye appeal and detail. But certified coins graded Ms. 66 or Ms. 67 can sell for $10 to $30 or more, especially if they show exceptional surfaces and strong detail. In fact, the highest graded examples, Ms. 68 red, have sold for over $150 in some auctions due to their scarcity at that level. These are the coins with zero contact marks, sharp strike, and flawless luster, the best of the best. Collectors also look for error varieties. Some rare 2009 Lincoln cents show die cracks, extra thickness, or strike, doubling on the cabin or text. These minting anomalies, though uncommon, add premium value for error coin enthusiasts. But even beyond price, this coin holds educational and patriotic significance. It's a piece of American storytelling, a tiny reminder that greatness can come from the most humble places. The cabin on this coin isn't just a building, it's the birthplace of an American legacy. So, if you have a 2009 birth, an early childhood Lincoln bicentennial penny tucked away in a roll, a folder, or a forgotten change jar, take a closer look. If it's uncirculated and gleaming with full red color, you may be holding onto a small piece of history with growing collector value. And remember, preserving its condition is key. Store it in a protective 2x2 holder. Avoid touching the surface. And keep it in a dry, temperature-stable environment to protect its luster and value over time. It may be small, faded, and forgotten, but every worn Carn Q coin has a story to tell. Today, we take a closer look at a simple yet historical coin that may be sitting in your pocket or hidden in an old jar, the 1949 Lincoln wheat penny, in worn condition. Though it may not shine like silver or glitter like gold, this little piece of copper carries with it the weight of post-war America, and a design that has remained a favorite among collectors for over a century. The 1949 wheat cent, officially called the Lincoln cent, was struck just 4 years after World War II ended. The United States was transitioning from a wartime economy to a booming industrial power. The country was healing, building, and moving forward. And in that era of growth, the Lincoln penny quietly continued to circulate, a trusted, everyday coin in the hands of millions of Americans. The obverse, or front, of the coin features the familiar bust of Abraham Lincoln, designed by Victor David Brenner. His initials, V. Deber, can be found subtly on the reverse, near the rim. Lincoln's portrait, strong and timeless, was first introduced in 1909, and remains on the penny to this day. Above his head are the words, "In God We Trust." To the left is "Liberty," and to the right is the date 1949. Some examples will have a mint mark below the date, a small D for the Denver Mint, or an S for the San Francisco Mint. If there is no mint mark, your coin was struck at the Philadelphia Mint. Flip the coin over, and you'll find the iconic wheat reverse, which gives the coin its nickname, Wheat Penny. Two curved stalks of wheat frame the words 1 cent and United States of America. Above, in bold letters, it reads, E pluribus unum Latin for, of many, one. This reverse design was used from 1909 to 1958, before being replaced by the Lincoln Memorial design. But what is a 1949 wheat penny in worn condition really worth? Well, millions were made. 217 million in Philadelphia, 153 million in Denver, and around 64 million in San Francisco. Because of this high mintage, 1949 pennies are common in circulated condition, and many are still found today in pocket change, coin jars, and old collections. In worn condition, meaning the coin has been heavily circulated and shows smooth surfaces, flat details, and discoloration. The typical value is 1 to 3 cents. These coins are not rare, but they are still special. They are relics of a time when candy cost a penny and gas was just 17 cents a gallon. They carry stories of hands they passed through, from soldiers returning home to factory workers and farmers across America. That said, collectors still hold value in worn coins, especially if the coin has no damage beyond natural wear. Even in low-grade condition, a 1949 wheat penny can be a great addition for someone building a date and mint set of Lincoln cents. However, condition matters. Coins with scratches, corrosion, deep discoloration, or cleaning damage may be considered damaged and not collectible. But even worn coins that age naturally with the soft, uniform brown tone are appreciated for their authenticity and history. On the other hand, uncirculated examples of the 1949 wheat penny, those that were never used and retain full mint luster, can fetch $2 to $10 or more, and professionally graded high-end coins in Ms. 66 red can sell for $50 to $100 or higher, depending on eye appeal. And Rarity.so, what should you do if you find a worn 1949 wheat penny? Hold on to it. It may not make you rich, but it's a genuine piece of American numismatic history. It's a coin that traveled through decades, through changing hands, through eras of hope, struggle, and progress. It may be worth only a penny, but the story it tells is priceless. In the palm of your hand lies a simple copper coin, easy to overlook, yet rich with history. Today, we explore the story and value of the 1967 United States 1-cent coin, better known as the Lincoln Memorial Cent, in fine condition. It's a coin that's common in circulation, but carries the legacy of a transformative period in American history. The obverse, or front, of the coin features the familiar portrait of President Abraham Lincoln, originally designed by Victor David Brenner. In 1909, his image has stood the test of time, making the Lincoln cent the longest-running design in U.S. coinage history. To the left of Lincoln's profile is the word Liberty, and to the right is the date, 1967. Above his head, as always, is the national motto, "In God We Trust." But look closely, you'll notice something missing. There's no mint mark beneath the date. That's not a mistake. In fact, it's part of a unique decision the U.S. Mint made during the mid-1960s. At the time, the United States was experiencing a coin shortage, largely driven by rising silver prices and growing public interest in coin collecting. In an effort to stabilize the coin supply and discourage hoarding, the U.S. Mint decided to remove mint marks from all coins minted in 1965. 1966, and 1967, regardless of whether they were produced in Philadelphia, Denver, or San Francisco. So, every 1967 penny you find will lack a mint mark. It's a product of its time, a result of economic pressure and strategic minting policy. While this makes it harder to determine where a 1967 penny was struck, it also makes the coin unique in U.S. numismatic history. Flip the coin over, and you'll see the Lincoln Memorial, the iconic monument in Washington, D.C., which first appeared on the back of the penny in 1959, commemorating Lincoln's 150th birthday. Between the columns, if you look closely, you can even see a tiny image of Lincoln seated inside the memorial, the only U.S. coin to feature the same person on both sides. Above the memorial, the inscription reads United States of America, and just below that is the Latin phrase E pluribus unum, meaning love many, one. At the bottom, the denomination is boldly stated, 1 cent. Now, let's talk about value. The 1967 Lincoln penny was struck in copper-plated bronze, consisting of 95% copper and 5% zinc, which gives the coin its rich brown-red color. In total, the U.S. Mint produced over 3 billion Lincoln cents in 1967, more than 2.2 billion in Philadelphia alone. Because of this high mintage, the 1967 penny is very common, especially in circulated condition. In fine condition, meaning moderate wear, visible details, and no major damage, this coin is typically worth just face value, or around 1 to 3 cents. Today, we're diving into the world of a coin that's nearly a century old, the 1929 Lincoln wheat penny. In bad condition. Though scratched, worn, or darkened by time, it's still a small piece of American history that survived the Great Depression, World War II, and everything in between. Let's begin with the basics. The 1929 wheat cent is part of the long-running Lincoln wheat penny series, which was produced from 1909 to 1958. On the obverse, or front, you'll find a profile of President Abraham Lincoln, designed by Victor David Brenner. This same portrait, introduced in 1909, is still used on pennies today, making it the longest-running coin portrait in U.S. history. To the left of Lincoln is the word Liberty, and to the right, the date, 1929. Below the date, you might see a small mint mark, either D for Denver or S for San Francisco. If there's no mint mark, the coin was struck in Philadelphia. Flip the coin over, and you'll see the classic wheat ears reverse, 2 curved stalks of wheat, framing the inscriptions 1 cent and United States of America. At the top is the phrase E pluribus unum, where for out of many, one. Now, let's talk mintage. In 1929, the United States Mint struck 185 million wheat pennies in Philadelphia, no mint mark, 41.7 million in Denver D mint mark, 50.1 million in San Francisco S mint mark. Combined, over 276 million pennies were produced that year, making the 1929 penny fairly common among early wheat cents. But what happens when that coin is in bad condition? A 1929 wheat penny in poor, heavily circulated or damaged condition, meaning it's worn nearly flat, has corrosion, pitting, major scratches, or discoloration, holds mostly historical and sentimental value. In the coin market, this condition typically falls into the good G4 or about good Ag3 range. The design is visible, but all major details are worn down, and many features are faint or missing. In this state, the coin's market value is typically 1 to 5 cents, depending on exact wear and the mint mark. A 1929D or 1929S may be slightly more desirable, but the difference in value is minimal in bad condition. That said, some collectors still enjoy holding these pieces as part of date and mint sets, especially when filling slots in classic Lincoln cent albums. Even the most worn 1929 wheat penny connects you to the world of 96 years ago. When Herbert Hoover became president, the stock market was about to crash, and America stood on the brink of the Great Depression. What causes a penny to reach such bad condition? The answer is time and use. These coins have passed through countless hands, survived decades in circulation, and were often stored loose in damp drawers, basements, or jars. Exposure to moisture and air causes corrosion. Improper cleaning with abrasives or chemicals damages the surface, and heavy wear slowly erases details. While a 1929 penny in poor shape won't make you rich, it still has educational and collectible value. It's a great coin for beginner collectors, history students, or anyone who enjoys the feel of old American money. In your pocket change or tucked inside an old coin jar, you might find a copper coin that looks like any other penny, but it's not. This coin carries a story, a tribute to a president, a nation in transition, and a legacy carved in metal. Today, we explored the 2009 Lincoln Presidency Bicentennial Penny, found in fine condition, circulated, slightly worn, but still proudly telling the tale of Abraham Lincoln's final chapter. In 2009, the United States Mint released a special one-year series of 4 pennies to commemorate the 200th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth and the 100th anniversary of the Lincoln cent. Each coin in the series represents a different stage of Lincoln's life: his birth and early childhood, formative years in Indiana, professional life in Illinois, and the one we focus on today, his presidency in Washington, D.C. The presidency design is the 4th and final release in the 2009 Lincoln Bicentennial series. On the reverse, you'll see an image of the U.S. Capitol dome, but it's not the dome we know today. It's still under construction, just as it was during Lincoln's presidency. The partially built dome is deeply symbolic. It represents a nation divided, but also a nation moving forward, striving to complete what it had begun. Just like Lincoln's efforts to preserve the Union during the Civil War, Lincoln never saw the finished dome. It was completed in 1866, a year after his assassination. Yet this image, the incomplete Capitol, reminds us of Lincoln's unfinished work: equality, unity, and the healing of a broken country. The obverse, or front of the coin, remains unchanged, bearing Victor David Brenner's classic portrait of Abraham Lincoln that first appeared on the cent in 1909. The date 2009 appears to the right of Lincoln's bust, and just below it is the D mint mark, indicating this particular coin was minted in Denver. The Denver Mint struck approximately 198 million of these presidency-designed pennies in 2009. That's a large mintage, making the coin common in circulation, especially in worn or fine condition. So, what exactly does fine condition mean? In coin grading terms, fine condition F12 indicates moderate circulation. The coin has visible wear, but the major details are still clearly readable. On the obverse, Lincoln's outline and facial features are worn, but visible. On the reverse, the Capitol building shows general detail, though finer lines and architectural features may be faint or partially smoothed out. In this condition, the collector value is modest. A 2009 presidency penny in fine condition typically sells for around 1 to 5 cents, depending on eye appeal. It may not bring high dollar value, but it remains historically meaningful, especially to collectors assembling the full 2009 Lincoln Bicentennial set. That said, this coin can be more valuable in better grades. In uncirculated mint state condition, especially with strong red color and no marks, the value can rise to $1 to $5 or more. Certified examples graded Ms. 66 or higher by PCGs or NGC may fetch $10 to $20 plus, depending on rarity of quality. And there's something else worth noting. A small number of errors and die varieties exist for the 2009 presidency penny. These include die cracks, struck through errors, and doubling on the Capitol dome or lettering. If you come across an odd-looking coin, it's always worth a closer inspection under magnification, and potentially worth far more than face value. So, what should you do if you find a 2009 Lincoln presidency penny in fine condition? You may not get rich, but you do hold a piece of America's story. This coin honors the most critical chapter in Abraham Lincoln's life, his time as president during the nation's darkest hour. Even in circulated, worn condition, this penny is part of a powerful tribute to the values of unity, leadership, and perseverance.
The 1940s Lincoln wheat penny holds a unique place. While it is not considered an extremely rare coin, its value, even in a dirty or circulated condition, can be surprising to some collectors or casual holders. This video will explore the coin's background, minting details, and most importantly, its value in today's market, specifically focusing on the 1940 penny with an S. Mint mark in less than perfect condition. The Lincoln wheat penny was first minted in 1909 to commemorate the centennial of Abraham Lincoln's birth. It replaced the Indian head cent, and it was the first U.S. coin to feature a real historical figure. Designed by Victor David Brenner, the obverse features a right-facing profile of Lincoln. On the reverse side of the coin, there are two wheat stalks encircling the words 1 cent and the United States of America. This wheat design was used until 1958, after which it was replaced by the Lincoln Memorial reverse. The 1940s Lincoln wheat penny was minted in San Francisco. During that year, over 112 million of these coins were struck, making it a relatively common issue compared to other dates in the series. Because of this large mintage, it's not categorized among the rarest Lincoln wheat pennies, but condition and collector interest still play significant roles in its value. When it comes to coins, condition is everything. In numismatics, this is referred to as the coin's grade. A coin in mint state condition, meaning it shows no signs of wear and retains full luster, will always be worth more than the same coin in a worn or dirty state. However, many collectors and enthusiasts are interested in coins regardless of their condition, particularly if they are from a significant historical period or feature a sought-after mint mark. The 1940 S penny, being minted in San Francisco, carries the S mint mark just below the date on the obverse. This distinguishes it from the Philadelphia and Denver issues of the same year. The S mint mark adds a certain appeal to collectors who aim to complete sets including coins from all three mints. Now, turning our attention to the value of the 1940s Lincoln wheat penny in dirty or heavily circulated condition. It is important to clarify what we mean by dirty. A dirty coin typically refers to a coin that has accumulated surface grime, discoloration, or corrosion from years of circulation. Such coins may not necessarily be heavily worn, but their eye appeal is reduced due to the presence of dirt or other substances on the surface. The presence of dirt, however, does not always equate to reduced value. In fact, cleaning a coin to remove dirt is discouraged in numismatics. Cleaning can leave fine scratches, dull the surface, or otherwise damage the coin, leading to lower overall value. Professional graders and collectors prefer coins in their natural state, even if they appear unattractive at first glance. A 1940s Lincoln wheat penny in circulated condition, even if dirty, generally holds a value above face value. This is because the coin is now over 80 years old and no longer produced. As of the current market trends in 2025, a dirty or well-worn 1940s penny typically sells for between 5 cents to 25 cents, depending on the severity of the wear and the level of grime. If the coin is just lightly soiled but retains readable details and a visible mint mark, it may command closer to the higher end of that range. In bulk sales, such as a collection of wheat pennies sold together, individual 194 OS coins in dirty, the condition may be valued even less, perhaps around 3 to 5 cents per coin, because bulk buyers tend to pay based on volume and weight rather than individual attributes. However, in one-on-one sales, especially if the coin is marketed as a specific date and mint mark, it can sell for a bit more. There is also a psychological aspect to coin value. A coin might not have significant intrinsic worth but may be perceived as valuable because of its age or historical character. Many people find wheat pennies fascinating because they represent an earlier period of American history. They might not be rare, but they are certainly nostalgic. Another factor influencing the value of the 1940s penny is the copper content. Like all pre-1982 pennies, the 1940s was made primarily of copper. These coins contain about 95% copper and weigh 3.11 grams. When copper prices are high, the metal value of the coin can approach or even exceed its collector value. However, melting coins for their metal content is illegal under U.S. law, so this value is more theoretical than practical for most collectors. In dirty condition, the value will not approach that of coins in higher grades. For example, a 1940s Lincoln wheat penny graded MS65, read by a professional service like PCGS or NGC, can sell for over $10 to $20, sometimes more depending on market demand. Coins with exceptional eye appeal, or those in mint state red condition, meaning they retain nearly all of their original color and luster, can fetch prices upwards of $50 or higher. But in circulated dirty condition, we are mostly dealing with modest values. Nonetheless, even modest values can add up if someone finds a jar of wheat pennies tucked away in a drawer or passed down from a relative. A handful of 1940s pennies, even in poor condition, may be worth a few dollars collectively and provide a gateway into the hobby of coin collecting. Another aspect to consider is that some people look for errors or variations in coins, which can sometimes lead to surprisingly high values. Although no major errors are commonly associated with the 1940s Lincoln wheat penny, minor die cracks, off-center strikes, or repunched mint marks do occasionally surface. These errors, if authenticated and sought after by collectors, can significantly increase a coin's value even in circulated condition. In such cases, values can reach several dollars, even if the coin is otherwise dirty or worn. Collectors often advise people not to clean coins they intend to sell or preserve. Removing the dirt may seem like a good idea, but any abrasive cleaning can severely hurt the value. A coin that appears dull and lifeless after cleaning is often less desirable than one that has aged naturally, even if it is dirty. In numismatics, originality is often preferred over artificial brightness. In summary, the 1940s Lincoln wheat penny, though common, still holds value in the current market. For a coin in dirty or circulated condition, the typical range is around 5 to 25 cents depending on appearance and market demand. While it may not be a windfall, the value lies not only in the dollars and cents but in the historical connection, the enjoyment of collecting, and the small thrill of finding a coin that has passed through countless hands over the decades. Next up, the 1940 penny without a mint mark is one that often sparks curiosity. Today, we're diving into this specific coin to explore its history, details, and most importantly, its value in today's market even when found in dirty or circulated condition. Let's start with a little background. The Lincoln wheat penny was first minted in 1909 to commemorate the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth. It was the first U.S. coin to feature a president's portrait, a significant departure from earlier coin designs that typically featured symbolic imagery. The reverse side of the coin displays two wheat stalks, giving the coin its familiar nickname, the wheat penny. The 1940 Lincoln wheat penny was produced in large quantities, with over 586 million coins struck at the Philadelphia Mint. Coins from this mint do not carry a mint mark. So when you find a 1940 penny without any letter under the date, you're looking at a Philadelphia issue. Because of this high mintage, the 1940 penny is generally considered common among wheat pennies. However, certain factors can influence its value significantly. When it comes to coin collecting and valuation, condition is one of the most important elements. Professional grading organizations like PCGS and NGC use a 70-point scale to grade coins, with 1 being the lowest, or poor, and 70 being a perfect mint-state coin. A dirty 1940 Lincoln wheat penny, particularly one that has seen considerable circulation, will typically fall at the lower end of that scale. This means its grade might be anywhere from good to fine, depending on the level of wear and any damage. A common question people have is, does a dirty coin have any value at all? The answer is yes, though the value is modest. Even heavily circulated and dirty 1940 pennies hold some value due to their copper content and historical interest. Unlike modern pennies, which are made mostly of zinc, wheat pennies contain about 95% copper. This intrinsic metal value can play a small part in determining a coin's worth, especially when copper prices rise. As of today, in the general marketplace, a 1940 Lincoln wheat penny, without a mint mark and in dirty or average circulated condition, typically sells for around 5 to 15 cents. This price can fluctuate slightly depending on the demand for wheat pennies and the overall state of the coin. If a coin is excessively worn, corroded, or scratched, it might bring closer to the lower end of that range. On the other hand, if the coin is just a little dirty but otherwise has strong details, it may fetch a bit more. Now, what makes some 1940 pennies stand out from others? Even though the base coin is common, there are rare variations and error coins that can be worth significantly more. Some 1940 pennies may have striking errors, such as double dies, off-center strikes, or die cracks. These errors are rare and not always visible at first glance. If you suspect you have an error coin, it's best to have it evaluated by a professional. Error coins, even in circulated condition, can be worth several dollars to several $100s, depending on the nature and rarity of the error. Another factor that adds value is the eye appeal. While your coin may be dirty, a careful and safe cleaning not recommended unless done by a professional can sometimes reveal better detail that increases the coin's grade and therefore its value. However, collectors generally prefer coins in their original, unclean state. Improper cleaning can damage a coin and reduce its value significantly. If you have a 1940 Lincoln wheat penny and you're considering selling it, you have several options. You could take it to a local coin dealer for an appraisal, sell it online through platforms like eBay, or include it as part of a bulk lot if you have other wheat pennies. While one coin alone, in dirty condition, may not bring a large sum, grouping it with others can appeal to beginner collectors or crafters who use old coins in art projects. There's also a sentimental and educational value in coins like these. Even if your 1940 penny is only worth 10 cents, it's a small piece of American history. This coin has passed through many hands over the decades and has its own story to tell. It reminds us of a different era, when items like a penny had more purchasing power and Abraham Lincoln's legacy was honored in everyday transactions. For collectors just getting started, wheat pennies like the 1940 no-mint mark coin offer a great entry point. They're inexpensive, widely available, and a perfect way to begin learning about grading, mint marks, and U.S. coin history. You might even start a collection by year, or look for variations like steel cents from 1943, or the rare 1909 SVD penny. In summary, a 1940 Lincoln wheat penny, without a mint mark and in dirty or heavily circulated condition, is generally worth around 5 to 15 cents in today's market. While not a rare or high-value coin, it still holds interest for collectors, especially beginners or those looking for coins to fill out a wheat penny collection. Always remember, the story behind the coin often adds more value than just the number attached to it. Whether you're holding on to it for sentimental reasons, hoping to complete a collection, or just curious about its worth, your 1940 penny is a small but enduring piece of American numismatic history. Next up, 1952 Lincoln wheat penny. When it carries the Denver Mint mark indicated by a small d beneath the date, it becomes what is known as the 1952D wheat penny. Now, this might not seem like a rare coin at first glance. Over 746 million of them were minted at the Denver Mint in that year alone. However, when it comes to coin collecting, rarity isn't just about mintage numbers. Other factors come into play, such as condition, color, and die varieties. Today, we'll be taking a closer look at the 1952D Lincoln wheat penny, specifically in black-toned or dark-shaded condition, a characteristic that can affect its value significantly. We'll break down its history, design, condition considerations, and most importantly, what this coin is worth in today's market. The obverse of the 1952D wheat penny features the familiar portrait of Abraham Lincoln. Facing right, the words, "In God We Trust," are inscribed above his head, with liberty to his left and the year 1952 to his right. Just below the date, the D mint mark represents the Denver Mint. The reverse side displays two wheat ears that curve inward from the left and right edges of the coin, framing the phrases 1 cent and United States of America. Above this is the Latin phrase e pluribus unum, meaning out of many. Collectors grade coins based on their condition, and this plays a crucial role in determining a coin's value. For wheat pennies, the grading scale ranges from poor P1 to mint state MS70. But even within those grades, the color and toning of the coin can greatly influence its market appeal and, ultimately, its price. A black or dark-toned Lincoln penny may appear different from the traditional red or brown ones, and its value can vary depending on whether the toning occurred naturally or as a result of damage or improper storage. Natural toning occurs over time as the metal reacts with air and moisture. Collectors sometimes prize these unique colorations when they add character without damaging the coin's details. On the other hand, coins that have turned black due to corrosion or exposure to harsh chemicals often lose value unless they are exceptionally rare or have historical significance. In the case of the 1952D Lincoln wheat penny, black or dark coloration usually falls into the category of environmental damage. This doesn't necessarily make the coin worthless, but it usually lowers its collector value, especially if the toning obscures the coin's features. That said, there are exceptions. If a black-shaded 1952D penny is in high grade, say, mint state 65 or higher, and has eye appeal, despite its toning, it could still fetch a decent price on the market. Toning is highly subjective, and what one collector sees as damage, another might view as a unique aesthetic. Now let's talk about market value. In circulated condition, a typical 1952D Lincoln wheat penny is worth about 3 to 10 cents. These coins are common and are often found in mixed rolls or bulk lots of wheat pennies, even in better circulated grades. Like very fine VF or extremely fine EF, the value doesn't rise significantly, maybe up to 25 cents, especially if the coin has good detail and minimal surface damage. In uncirculated condition, however, the value changes dramatically. A 1952D wheat penny graded MS62 MS63 can be worth between 75 cents and $3. If the coin is red, that is, it retains its original mint luster and is in a high grade like MS65 or MS66. Its value could range from $10 to $25 or more, depending on demand and the coin's eye appeal. The black coloration adds a layer of complexity. A black 1952D penny in circulated condition typically does not command a premium. In fact, it might be discounted compared to its brown or red counterparts due to perceived damage or lack of visual appeal. You might see these coins sold in lots or online auctions for as little as a few cents each. unless the toning is judged to be attractive or the coin is part of a broader collector theme like toned coins or oddities. However, in exceptional cases, black-toned 1952D pennies that grade highly and maintain sharp details can be sold for higher prices, especially if a collector finds the toning visually appealing. A certified slabbed example in MS condition with dark or black toning and good strike quality might bring in $5 to $15 if marketed well. But this is the exception rather than the rule. Another factor influencing value is errors or die varieties. The 1952D penny does not have many well-known varieties, but minor errors like die cracks, off-center strikes, or repunched mint marks can exist. If such an error is present on a black-colored coin and the details are still visible, the value could go up. Error collectors might pay $20 to $50 or more for unusual features, even if the coin is toned or darkened. To summarize, the 1952D Lincoln Wheat Penny is a common coin in circulated grades, with millions still in existence. Its base value in average condition is very low, just a few cents. Uncirculated examples can be worth several dollars, particularly if they retain original red luster. Black or dark-toned coins are generally less desirable to traditional collectors, unless they are high-grade or exhibit interesting natural toning. In today's market, a black 1952D wheat penny in average circulated condition might sell for around 5 to 10 cents. In higher uncirculated grades, especially if certified by a grading service like PCGS or NGC, it could be worth $5 to $15, possibly more, if the toning is deemed attractive, or if the coin has an unusual error. For collectors, it's important to evaluate each coin on its own merits. The 1952D wheat penny may not be the rarest or most valuable Lincoln cent, but it's part of a beloved series that continues to be a gateway into the world of coin collecting. Whether your coin is red, brown, or black in tone, what matters most is how it fits into your collection and the story it tells. Next up, the 1941 Lincoln Wheat Penny with the Denver Mint mark, also known as the 1941D wheat cent. We'll take a detailed look at this coin's background, its design, mintage numbers, and most importantly, its value in today's market particularly. In good circulated condition, if you have one of these coins in your possession, you might be wondering if it's worth anything significant. Let's find out. To start, the 1941D Lincoln Wheat Penny is part of a larger series of wheat cents that were minted from 1909 to 1958. These coins are called wheat pennies because of the stylized wheat stalks on the reverse side of the coin. The 1941D version was struck at the Denver Mint, which is indicated by the small d mint mark just below the date on the obverse side of the coin. The obverse of the coin features a profile portrait of President Abraham Lincoln, designed by Victor David Brenner. The image has been iconic since its introduction in 1909, celebrating the 100th anniversary of Lincoln's birth. Above Lincoln's head, the words "In God We Trust" appear. To the left, you'll see the word Liberty, and to the right is the date, in this case, 1941, along with the D Mint mark denoting the Denver Mint. Turning the coin over to the reverse side, you'll notice two stylized wheat stalks framing the sides. Between them, the words 1 cent are prominently displayed, along with United States of America underneath. Above that is the motto E pluribus unam, which means out of many, one. In terms of mintage, the 1941D penny was produced in large numbers. The Denver Mint struck approximately 128 million of these coins in 1941. That high mintage means the coin is not particularly rare, at least not in lower circulated grades. However, condition and demand still play a significant role in determining value. So, how much is a 1941D Lincoln Wheat Penny worth today? That largely depends on its condition. In coin collecting, condition is everything. The coin grading scale, known as the Sheldon scale, ranges from poor P1 to perfect mint state MS70. For this video, we're focusing on coins that are in what collectors call good condition. This is the lowest level of the circulated grades and is typically defined by a coin that is heavily worn but still identifiable. On such a coin, most of the finer details, like Lincoln's hair and the wheat lines on the reverse, are worn flat. But the key design elements remain visible. In today's market, a 1941D Lincoln Wheat Penny in good condition is worth about 5 to 10 cents. Might not sound like much, and truthfully, it isn't a fortune. However, that's still 5 to 10 times its face value, which is a decent return if you found it in a pile of pocket change or in a forgotten coin jar. It also highlights how even common coins can retain some value over time due to historical interest and collector demand. Now, while the average good condition 1941D wheat penny may not be worth much, it's important to consider other factors that can affect value. One of these is eye appeal. Even a coin that is technically in good condition may fetch a higher price if it has a uniform tone, lacks major scratches or corrosion, and has decent overall color. Another factor to keep in mind is whether the coin has any errors or varieties. For example, some 1941D Lincoln cents have been found with minor die cracks, repunched, mint marks, or doubled dies. These varieties can be more valuable, even in circulated grades. A coin with a repunched mint mark, where the D was struck more than once in slightly different positions, can be worth a few dollars even in lower grades. If the error is dramatic or well documented, prices can be significantly higher. It's also worth mentioning that even though the 1941D coin was made from a composition of 95% copper and 5% tin and zinc, its metal value is negligible. The copper content of a single penny is not enough to exceed its face value due to regulations that prevent the melting of U.S. pennies for raw materials. However, the copper composition does give the coin a distinctive reddish-brown tone, which can influence a collector's appreciation for eye appeal. Another interesting aspect is the historical context. The year 1941 marked the United States' entry into World War II following the attack on Pearl Harbor in December. Although this didn't impact penny production directly that year, coins from this era often carry additional historical appeal for collectors who are interested in warrior memorabilia. While the good condition 1941D penny is modest in value, the same coin in higher grades tells a different story. For instance, in extremely fine condition, the coin might be worth about 50 cents to $1. In about uncirculated condition, values climb toward $1.50 or more. And in mint state, especially coins graded MS63 and above, values can range from $3 to $10 or even higher, depending on luster, strike, and eye appeal for coins in top-tier grades, particularly MS65 or MS66, certified by third-party grading services like PCGS or NGC. Values can exceed $20 or more. The highest auction prices for a 1941D Lincoln cent have approached or surpassed $100, but only in superb gem condition with exceptional quality. If you think you have a 1941D wheat penny and you're curious about its potential value, the best thing to do is first evaluate its condition. Use online grading guides or consult a local coin dealer. If you believe the coin might be in higher grade or has a possible error, you may even consider having it graded by a professional service. In conclusion, the 1941D Lincoln wheat penny is a common coin with a modest value and good condition, usually worth between 5 and 10 cents. However, it remains a popular collectible due to its classic design, historical context, and role in one of the most beloved series in American numismatics. While it won't make you rich, it's a great reminder of the value of history, craftsmanship, and the hidden treasures that might be sitting in your change jar right now. Next up, the 1940 Lincoln wheat penny minted in Denver, designated by the small d mint mark, found just below the date on the obverse side. This script will focus specifically on the 1940D Lincoln wheat penny, examining its history, mintage numbers, and most importantly, its current value in the coin market when found in normal, circulated condition. To begin, it's essential to understand the background of the coin. The 1940D penny was produced during a time when the U.S. Mint was churning out large quantities of coinage. In that year alone, the Denver Mint struck over 81 million Lincoln pennies. That number might seem staggering, and it is, especially when compared to rarer mintages in other years. Because of this high mintage, the 1940D penny is not considered rare in the absolute sense. However, certain factors like condition, luster, and strike quality can impact its value. From a historical standpoint, the 1940D penny was produced at the tail end of the Great Depression and just before the United States entered World War II. The economy was beginning to recover, and coin production was ramping up to meet increasing demand. These coins were made of 95% copper and 5% tin and zinc, the standard composition for Lincoln pennies from 1909 until 1942. This copper-based alloy gives the coin its classic reddish-brown hue. When assessing the value of any coin, the most important factor is condition. Professional grading services, such as the Numismatic Guarantee Corporation, NGC, or the Professional Coin Grading Service, PCGS, use a standardized 70-point scale to determine a coin's grade. For most casual collectors, however, coins are simply categorized as circulated or uncirculated. A coin in circulated condition has been used in daily transactions and will show signs of wear. Uncirculated coins are those that have never been used and retain their original mint luster. Since the focus here is on coins in normal, circulated condition, we will exclude premium uncirculated or mint state coins from this discussion. Instead, let's consider what a typical 1940D penny might look like after decades of use. You can expect such a coin to have significant wear on Lincoln's hair and cheek, flattening in the wheat stalks on the reverse, and potentially small nicks or scratches. In terms of market value, a 1940D Lincoln wheat penny in average circulated condition generally sells for between 5 and 15 cents. Yes, this is more than its face value of 1 cent, but not dramatically so. The reason for this modest premium is the coin's common nature and large mintage. Still, there is consistent demand for these coins among beginners and those building. Daytime mint sets. Coins, in slightly better than average condition, those that retain more detail and show less wear, can fetch slightly higher prices. These might range from 25 cents to 50 cents depending on the exact grade and appearance. If a coin shows a particularly strong strike or has a more original red color rather than the typical brown or dull patina of older copper coins, it may appeal to more advanced collectors and command a bit more. It's important to note that pricing for circulated coins fluctuates slightly with the broader coin market and the price of copper. As of mid-2025, copper prices have been relatively stable, so melt value doesn't significantly impact the coin's worth. Because the coin is a numismatic item rather than bullion, its collector value holds more weight than its metal content. One of the reasons some people believe their 1940D penny is worth a fortune is because of misinformation or confusion with error coins or coins in exceptional condition. For example, a 1940D penny graded MS67 read by PCGS or NGC can sell for several $100s at auction, sometimes even more if it's among the finest known examples. However, these coins are in pristine, mint-state condition and have never been used in circulation. They are extremely rare and are not the same as the average coins found in pocket change, jars, or inherited collections. When looking to sell a 1940D penny in circulated condition, your best bet is through local coin shops, online marketplaces, like eBay or coin shows. On eBay, a quick search reveals that typical circulated 1940D pennies sell in lots such as groups of 10 or 50 coins for a few dollars. Individually, they are often listed for under $1, but actual sale prices usually fall in the range of 10 to 20 cents, depending on the listing and demand at the time. For buyers or collectors interested in adding a 1940D penny to their collection, the advantage lies in affordability. It's a low-cost way to own a piece of American numismatic history and a good entry point for beginners. Many collectors strive to complete a full set of Lincoln wheat pennies from 1909 to 1958, which includes the 1940D. Because this coin is widely available, it's one of the easiest to acquire in the series. To sum up, the 1940D Lincoln wheat penny is not considered rare in the world of coin collecting. Its high mintage means millions still exist, and many are available in circulated condition. In today's market, a 1940D penny in average circulated condition typically holds a value between 5 and 15 cents. Coins in better shape can reach 25 to 50 cents. And exceptionally well-preserved examples graded by a professional service can reach values in the hundreds of dollars, though that falls outside the scope of normal. Circulated examples. If you're someone who's found a 1940D penny in a coin jar, drawer, or inherited collection, it's a nice keepsake and a reminder of America's rich monetary history. While it may not buy you anything extravagant, it's a great piece for anyone starting a coin collection or simply appreciating the legacy of Lincoln's enduring presence on U.S. currency. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more coin collecting content. See you in next time. Happy collecting!